The Thanksgiving Parade teaser just gave us our first real look at Shrek 5. The giant balloon featured Shrek and Donkey, and inside the onion carriage, we saw Shrek and Fiona's 3 kids, who are now teenagers in this movie. While the first teaser already introduced Felicia, voiced by Zendaya, this is the first time we're seeing their sons Fergus and Farkle. This early sneak peek pretty much confirms that Universal and DreamWorks are starting promotion well ahead of time for what's shaping up to be one of the biggest summer hits of 2027. The plot is still being kept under wraps, but we do know that the main cast, Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz, are all officially back. During the premiere of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Antonio Banderas even said he'd love to voice Puss again in the next Shrek film, though at that point, Part 5 hadn't been announced yet. Now it looks like Puss is indeed returning, especially considering the ending of The Last Wish, where Puss, Softpaws, and Perito sail off toward far, far away, teasing a reunion with Shrek, so it's very possible that Shrek 5 will pick up right after the events of the second Puss in Boots movie. Other plot details are still being kept secret, but there were earlier rumors that Shrek and Donkey somehow end up in the real world because of Felicia's experiments with magic. Apparently, she's not exactly a pro at spellcasting, and after accidentally opening a portal, she can't figure out how to send them back. None of that has been confirmed though. What has been confirmed is that Shrek 5 isn't even out yet, and it's already breaking the internet, not because of memes or the cast, but because of its very first teaser. Instead of getting the usual hype, the trailer sparked massive debate online, with fans clashing over theories and predictions about where the story might go next. The biggest shocker was the new visual style, which a lot of people just didn't vibe with. Many say the animation looks too smooth and polished, losing that iconic Shrek blend of humor and weird, slightly gross charm that made the franchise so special. Right now, Shrek's look feels more like the Croods or even Illumination style, rather than the rougher, classic DreamWorks vibe fans remember. Some people like the change, saying the characters look more expressive and alive, but for most, it feels like the magic's gone. The offbeat, imperfect aesthetic that made Shrek stand out in the first place. The teaser shows more realistic faces, upgraded textures, advanced lighting, and fluid movement. Technically, it's impressive, no question about it, but great visuals don't always connect emotionally. Fans care more about preserving the heart and tone of the original than seeing cinematic lighting on Shrek's nose. Many also pointed out that the teaser itself didn't look fully finished. DreamWorks explained it as a creative choice to modernize the characters and make them fit better with updated animation tech, but that reasoning didn't win everyone over. Longtime fans think the redesign drifts too far from what made the characters iconic. If DreamWorks wants to avoid another PR storm, they might want to take a page from Paramount's Sonic playbook and tweak the visuals before release. And maybe that quiet delay from 2026 to 2027 is exactly about that. Sure, it could just be a coincidence, but what else were they supposed to do? Admit they got forced into dropping the teaser early after leaks started flying around. Releasing it ahead of schedule was probably damage control. Now the animation team is under heavy pressure to fine-tune every detail before the final cut. Luckily, DreamWorks still has time to polish things up and win back the fans. If they can turn all this backlash into motivation, Shrek 5 might just bounce back stronger than anyone expects. But the visuals aren't the only thing people are talking about. Zendaya's Felicia has become the unexpected center of attention, with fan theories popping up left and right, some even going viral. Her casting came completely out of nowhere since no one had mentioned her name before the teaser dropped. According to insiders, Felicia will play a major part in the story. She's described as smart, lively, and full of energy. Definitely her parents' daughter. The goal isn't just to add a new face, but to bring in themes like growing up, family bonds, and passing the torch to the next generation. It's a way to give the story more heart, while keeping that signature mix of humor and sharp wit that Shrek has always had. Fans are already debating how teen Felicia will fit into the world, with many thinking she could be the bridge between the original cast and a new lineup of characters, maybe even setting up future sequels or spin-offs. We still don't know who's voicing Fergus and Farkle, or how big their roles will be, but it's clear Felicia's taking the spotlight this time. There's also talk that Shrek 5 could act as a kind of prequel, diving into Shrek's past and his relationship with his parents. The idea is that his mom and dad were typical ogres, grumpy, reclusive, and not exactly fans of humans. They'd be proud at first to see Shrek has his own family, but once they realize how much he's changed, making friends, living among people, and softening up, they'd see it as a betrayal of their kind. That conflict would become the emotional core of the movie, with Felicia playing a key role in helping her dad face it. It could also finally explain one of the oldest mysteries in the franchise: what happened to all the other ogres? Since the first movie, Shrek's been the only one of his kind in the kingdom, aside from Fiona after her curse lifted. His family was never shown, except for that one dark joke about his dad trying to eat him as a kid. We also know he started living alone in the swamp at a young age, but the reason was never revealed. Shrek Forever, after briefly showed an alternate timeline full of ogres, which sparked the theory that Shrek might be the last survivor of some kind of purge, and if that's true, it could even open the door for Lord Farquaad's comeback. Some fans think Farquaad might have had something to do with wiping out the ogres. In the restored timeline, they're all gone again, and while a few appear in a quick montage at the end, that scene isn't canon. So Shrek 5 might finally fill in those blanks and bring closure to that long-standing mystery. For now, it's all speculation, but if that's really the direction they're heading, the creative team will need to handle it carefully, especially after the backlash over the new animation style. Still, even with all the drama, one thing's certain: Shrek 5 promises to stay true to the heart of the originals while finding new ways to keep the story alive. It's too early to judge the final movie, but this whole situation has clearly been a wake-up call for DreamWorks, and that might be exactly what this franchise needed. As for the villain, that's still a complete mystery, but if the rumors about Felicia dabbling in magic turn out to be true, then the main antagonist could also be tied to the world of spells and sorcery. Knowing DreamWorks, they'll probably pull inspiration from classic fairy tales and folklore, maybe someone mischievous, manipulative, or with their own magical agenda. A trickster type like Rumpelstiltskin or a dark sorcerer similar to Baba Yaga, Merlin's evil counterpart, or even an enchanted being like the Pied Piper could easily fit into the Shrek universe. There's also potential for a new villain inspired by fairy tale archetypes: a cursed magician who wants to control all magic, a witch who sees Felicia as a threat, or a smooth-talking con artist who uses spells for personal gain. The perfect villain for Shrek 5 could be Morgan Le Fay, reimagined as King Arthur's cousin and a former student of Worcestershire Academy. Years ago, she was imprisoned in the Old Norse shackle, a strange dimension that breaks the weak but strengthens the mind. It was there that she achieved what she calls mental perfection, working side by side with a mysterious figure known as Maleagant. But her obsession runs deeper. Morgan's ultimate goal is to become one with the two-hoofed spirit goat, an ancient being of chaos said to grant those it possesses the power to command serpents and reshape reality. She believes that by merging with it, she can bring balance back to a world that has forgotten real magic. And she's more than willing to twist Felicia's powers to make it happen. In the Shrek universe, she'd be both menacing and hilarious, elegant, overly dramatic, and just self-aware enough to deliver the kind of tongue-in-cheek villainy that DreamWorks does best. Imagine her turning ancient prophecies into motivational slogans or treating world domination like a self-improvement journey. Morgan fits perfectly into the story of the fifth film. She could easily deceive Felicia, manipulating her for her own gain, while also having her own storyline connected to Arthur, who logically should return as the more mature king of Far, Far Away. Their dynamic could carry a lot of emotional and thematic weight. Two relatives shaped by destiny, both tied to the legacy of Camelot, but standing on opposite sides of what that legacy means. Morgan's presence would bring back the fantasy roots of the Shrek universe, the Arthurian magic, the ancient curses, the moral gray zones between heroism and ambition. She wouldn't just be a villain for the sake of chaos, she'd be someone who genuinely believes the world needs to be corrected, and that only she is brilliant enough to do it.